So this is part 3 of the time for completion system. The next step, I'm gonna skip the second one about the Google form because I know how to do that. I'm gonna be dealing with the third one, the C sharp scripts, the coroutine chain to be uh, counting the time in the background and the data persistence, which is not using not destroy the method not destroy on load. I have done both before, but since I'm not a programmer, I never remember on the top of my mind. So I'm gonna be looking for tutorials and reclaiming things that I have done here and there and trying to make it work in simple tests. First, I'm gonna reclaim in Watershed Explorers. We have a script that controls the time passed. I guess I'm going to copy show in Explorer, copy and paste in my new project. I'll be putting every script in the system game object. Now I'm gonna find the data persistent not destroy on load.
In this video, we're going to look at how to keep objects from being destroyed when moving between scenes. And so by default, when you load a new scene in Unity, so right here we have our scene 1, when you load a new scene in Unity, everything in the hierarchy is destroyed and it's replaced with the stuff in the scene that you load. But there are certainly cases where we're going to want to have some set of objects that exist in all of our scenes or in some subset of our scenes. We want them to keep alive when changing scenes. And one example might be, say, music control, right? Control the background music for all the scenes. So I'll just go ahead and add that quick. Call this music controls. And it might have some objects on it, so it might have like an audio source, a control script, some of the things I'll just name just music. And of course, right now, if I play and I hit space, we lose our music controls. How do we keep this when transitioning between scenes? The solution is to use a built-in method in Unity called don't destroy on load. And how Don't Destroy Unload works is it actually takes your object and it moves it to another scene. It moves it to a scene called Don't Destroy Unload. So that when you unload scene 1 and you load scene 2, this other scene is basically loaded additively with those scenes. So we would have scene 1 and the Don't Destroy Unload scene loaded. We unload scene 1 and load scene 2, the Don't Destroy Unload scene would still be there. So the neat little trick that allows us to keep things, overall sort of game managers, music controllers, all kinds of things we can use. And the way to do this is just create a script, and we call this save me, and then pop over to the Visual Studio. And we just have to do this once, so we can mark this as being in the Don't Destroy Unload scene. So we can do that in the start method. And the method is called Don't Destroy Unload. And then you just pass in the object you want to save. In this case, we want to save the game object that attached to this script. And when you save the game object, it'll save everything on that game object, and it'll also save all the child game objects. So we hit save, pop back over to Unity, we have our save me script, we'll go ahead and add it to the music controls. And then when we hit play, and we space transition to our other scene, we see the music controls is still there. Now, I mentioned earlier that this works by basically shuttling this off to another scene, and so that actually begs the question, how can we tell what scene an object is in? And the way we can do that is with a property of game objects called scene. So the way we can do this is by taking game object.scene. And this will give us the associated scene that its game object is located inside of. And what we can do with that is we can get, for instance, the name of the scene. So I'm just going to go ahead and debug log out, go to Unity, and when we hit play, we're going to see that this is in the Don't Destroy Unload scene. Now there's a problem that comes up with this. And the problem is that if we have something loaded in scene 1, and it doesn't get destroyed when we go to scene 2, and when we go back to scene 1, we're going to have two copies. Let me show you that real quick. In Visual Studio, I've modified our transition script so that if we're in scene 0, we're going to load scene 1. If we're in scene 1, we're going to load scene 0. So every time we press space, we transition between the scenes. And when I pop over to Unity and go ahead and hit play, we're going to see we have our music controls, we still have our music controls, and then I actually need to add our transition script to our scene 2 real quick. Go ahead and do that. Alright, and go back to scene 1, let's try that again. So we have our music controls, we load scene 2, we have our music controls, we load scene 1, now we have two copies of music controls. So this is definitely an issue. Every time we return to that scene, we're going to add another copy because the copies never get destroyed. So in general, when you need to keep information between scenes, there are better ways to do it than using this Don't Destroy Unload. For instance, things like statics, static variables, and symbols, things that are covered in other videos. But if we do want to use Don't Destroy Unload, then we have to be cognizant of the fact that every time we return to the scene, we can add another copy. And so there are a couple other ways we can do this. One way we can do is we can actually start our game in a totally blank scene that only contains the thing we want to save. We then mark that as Don't Destroy Unload, we ship it into the main scene, and then we load our main scene of the game, which is usually like our main menu scene. That way later when we return to the menu scene, that's not the scene that had our music controls or whatever it is, so we don't get any copy. So that's one way to do it. Another way is just in our script on our music control, we can check when it first loads up, we can ask how many copies of this are there in the scene. If there's more than one copy, then just destroy the copies. And that's a fairly common way to do this as well. And that's all that's kind of an exercise to do right here. If you want to use this technique, you can try it, and if you get stuck, of course you can. And that in a nutshell is how we can keep objects in Unity. Things like audio sources, components, scripts, all that type of stuff, and transition it between scenes. In this video, in all of our scenes, we're in some subcontrol, the background source, panel control are actually scene 1, and we load keep things to the mark, and you just pass in the object that you want to save. In this case, we want to save the game object that's attached to the script. When you save the game object,
So, although it was a nice and quick refresher, at the end he didn't explain how we make the check to destroy the other scene object that is duplicated when we return.
and we return to scene to add a copy. So there are a couple other ways we can do this. Don't destroy it. So you want to now you have two copies.
There.
Let's try that. So we have our music controls, we load scene 2, we have our music controls, we load scene 1, now we have two copies of music controls. So this is definitely an issue. Every time we return to that scene, we're going to add another copy.
I'm gonna try to find a video that is. Oh my gosh, this video is from 2021. The guy's not explaining correctly.
In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a dynamic don't destroy onload script. So the first thing that we're going to do is create a new script and call it don't destroy, and then open it up in Visual Studio. So at its bare bones, all you have to do is type don't destroy onload and feed it the parameter of game object. And that's it, so let's save and head back into Unity. And we'll go ahead and try this out. In this case, we'll try it on this colonial ship and just drag and drop it into its inspector. Okay, so let's see how this looks in play mode. We'll go into another scene, and you can't see it right now because this is in a box, but yep, it's still there. There's one problem. If we go back into the scene, see that now we have two ships. Every time we'll go back and forth, there's going to be another ship. And the reason for that is when Unity loads a scene, it loads everything in the hierarchy, which includes an original version of the ship and the one that wasn't destroyed from when we were here before. We don't want that. So let's go back into the script, and one way that we could handle this is the same way that we handled our player script in the last video, and just make it an instance. That works fine there, but that's not what we want for this. So I'm going to copy and paste this into our script to show why. The problem is we want to be able to put the script on a different game object. So let's say we just want to put it on this palm tree. If we go into play mode and we check things out, we'll see that the palm tree's there, but the boat's gone. And if we go to the other scene, the palm tree's still there. And that's because only one game object can have this script for any scene. But we want to set this up so as many objects as we want can have it without interfering with each other. So the first thing we're going to do is delete all of this. And we're going to replace it with object.findObjects of type don't destroy. All this will do is get a list of every object in the scene that has the don't destroy component on it. We're going to be copying and pasting this a lot, so we'll just keep that there for now. We're going to run through it with a for loop, which I'm going to copy and paste from the internet because I'm too lazy to memorize it. There'll be a link to that in the description. And then we'll control X or object.findLine and replace num enemies with that .length. And then get rid of the debug line and replace that with if, copy and paste object.find again, at position I, dot name is equal to name, ignore the game object, I forgot you don't need that. And then inside of the curly brackets, we're going to say destroy game object. Problem with that is that this game object has the same name, so it'll destroy itself. So what we're going to do is go above this and say if, copy and paste the object.find again, at position I is not equal to this, and then inside of the curly brackets, we're going to control X what we previously wrote and put that in. Then we'll save and go back into Unity. And if we try this out in play mode, we can see in the hierarchy that the boat's still there. You can walk around here, palm tree still there, and everything looks good. Except there's one more problem. What if I want to preserve two different game objects with the same exact name? So, exiting play mode, I'm just going to duplicate the palm tree game object, and I'm going to name both of the trees tree. Going back into play mode, we'll see that it actually destroys both of them. We don't want that. So let's go back into the script. What we're going to do is we're going to give them an ID. So let's type out public string object ID. And within our center if statement, let's switch out both name variables with object ID. And then we're actually going to go above our start function and say void awake. And we're going to make it so this string is equal to name plus transform.position to string. Let's go back into the game and see how that looks. And there you go. As you can see, everything's working perfectly. Go into the other scene, trees are still there, go back, everything's good. You could take this a step further and add the Euler angles to the string as well, but most of the time that shouldn't be necessary. There's two final things that we're going to do. If you have a moving game object like our ship, its ID is always going to be different, so we'll have the same problem before with the duplicating ship. Easiest way to fix this is just make it a child object of a game object that isn't moving, and then drag and drop the component onto that parent object. And finally, we don't actually want to see the game object's ID in the inspector. So going back to our script one last time, we'll just go above the object ID and type square brackets hide in inspector. And there you have it. You now have a don't destroy script that you can put on as many game objects as you want without them ever interfering with each other. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.
Okay, I like this one. It was very objective and he provided the solutions. I'm saving this tutorial in the planning document that I have. I think I don't need much. I think just this one here is necessary until the checking the instance. So
To handle this is the same way that we handled our player script in the last. Copy and paste this into our
now it's not very fast.
problem is we want to be able to put this script on a different game object. So let's say we just want to put it on this palm tree.
Yeah, I don't have this issue. I just want to put it in one game object. I guess I'm gonna create another canvas, a non-destroy on mode canvas. Why is this not working? Scale almost invisible. Okay, that's a mystery. Why is it not appearing? Hmm, that's very weird, right? Okay, so I'm gonna put it on to try on this text object and see if it's gonna work. Don't throw alert only works for root game objects or components on root game. Okay, great. It doesn't work because it needs a canvas. I know that. I don't know why this is happening, and I'm getting aggravated here. Okay, now I gotta load. I don't need to do that. I already have it in Watershed Explorer, just need to go there and copy. No, it's different. It's not simple. Okay, I'm gonna make another one. I forgot to add the scenes in the build settings. I need to put the system on non-destroy on load as well. But only one. Okay, it's working, but it's not ideal. I'm gonna go back to that tutorial and see what that person suggests.
If we go into play mode and we check things out, we'll see that the palm tree's there, but the boat's gone. And if we go to the other scene, the palm tree's still there. And that's because only one game object can have this script for any scene. But we want to set this up so as many objects as we want can have it without interfering with each other. So the first thing we're going to do is delete all of this. And we're going to replace it with object.findObjects of type don't destroy. All this will do is get a list of every object in the scene that has the don't destroy component on it. We're going to be copying and pasting this a lot, so we'll just keep that there for now. We're going to run through it with a for loop, which I'm going to copy and paste from the internet because I'm too lazy to memorize it. There'll be a link to that in the description. And then we'll control X or object.findLine and replace num enemies with that .length. And then get rid of the debug line and replace that with if, copy and paste object.find again, at position I, dot name is equal to name, ignore the game object, I forgot you don't need that. And then inside of the curly brackets, we're going to say destroy game object. The problem with that is that this game object has the same name, so it'll destroy itself. So what we're going to do is go above this and say if, copy and paste the object.find again, at position I is not equal to this, and then inside of the curly brackets, we're going to control X what we previously wrote and put that in. Then we'll save and go back and see it.
Yeah, TH. Still doesn't work. Objects.
Pretty. And if we try this out in play mode, we can see in the hierarchy that the boat's still there. You can walk around here, palm tree still there, and everything looks good. Except there's one more problem. What if I want to preserve two different game objects with the same exact name?
No,
So, exiting play mode.
I don't want this. So it's not a problem for me. What? Okay, so this only works once because since things are moved into the don't destroy mode scene, maybe I need just to move the scene loader to the UI instead. Huh, this is bad. It's working. Maybe if I change something here, it's already static. I don't need to update, I just need to keep track. Maybe I can debug instead. Yay! Hmm, that's not what I wanted. Maybe it's in a fixed update. It's increasing time by time. It's not what I wanted. I'm going. Let's see if the date update is what I want. No. This is less consuming. It's fine. I just need this to keep track of the time for the coroutine to call to be run after a certain amount of time. Okay, now the coroutine. How do I do the timer passed? Maybe timer pass can. I'll go and look for something now.
I'm going to demonstrate and talk about a few different ways to time events in Unity. Starting with a scene that has a canvas in it and a few different text fields. I have a game object called timer object with a simple script attached. So let's take a look at this script. It has a few public members for text fields to hold some different types of timers. In Unity, I want to make connections to those things. I'm going to use the first text field in time text, the second in delta time text, the third as a frame counter, and the fourth will keep track of the coroutine. Now back in the script, I'll start updating some of these text fields once per frame using the update function. The first one I'm going to use is the time class and its time attribute, which simply is a record of time in seconds since the start of the game. That's a floating point value. So we use time.time and place that into the text field. So time text equals. Okay. I'll save this and look at it in Unity. And I can see that my time.time field is updating, showing me how many seconds as a floating point value since the beginning of the game. So
Hi, Dr. Bodin. I am suffering with Unity. Ah, it's your life as well. hmm
what I want to look at is delta time text. So I'm going to input for the delta time text field delta time, and then the value of time.delta time. Since the last delta time stays consistently around 0.016, which is about 1/60th of a second. If I want to use delta time to time events, then I
I
need
don't need that.
to keep track of
I
delta
just need the
time
first one.
is delta time text. And I can see that same. Okay.
Time. Let's see. Ah, all of them do that. That's terrible. Anyways, I don't need to. I'm gonna simplify that because if like 15 minutes, 1 minute has 60 seconds, so 15 minutes has. Let me. Alexa, 15 times 60.
15 times 60 is 900.
I'll stop here because I have a student now, but I'll come back and continue this implementation.